Sometimes moving forwards means looking ass backwards. That's right, today we're gonna be talking about your butt, or more specifically, how your butt is impacting the world. This thing that you use every day, this icon of cleanliness and fresh-bottomedness, is actually more of a step backwards in terms of humanity's progress than you might think. Toilet paper is said to have been invented in America in 1857. Over 100 years before that, the bidet was invented in France. It was primitive and was originally adopted as an updated form of the chamber pot. 50 years later, the bidet was improved to include a hand crank. With each crank, the bidet would spray water at your backside. By the 1900s, bidets were considered a standard in many European and Asian countries. Unfortunately, it didn't become a global standard because of just how uncomfortable people get when it comes to talking about poop. A big reason it didn't spread to America specifically is because when our ancestors first came in contact with bidets, they thought the devices were either a method of birth control or a device used for sex work in some way. And because of this, we misstepped by adopting toilet paper. This hot commodity right here is far more costly than you realize, which is a bummer, pun intended. You probably know that you have to sacrifice a few trees for its production, but what you may not know is that every roll of toilet paper requires 37 gallons of water to produce. On average, Americans use approximately 100 million rolls of toilet paper every day. That's enough TP to wrap around the Earth more than 385,000 times. It's enough to destroy approximately 41,000 trees and use upwards of 1.2 billion gallons of water. Deforestation has roughly doubled in countries like Indonesia because of the steady increase in pulp and paper production for toilet paper. More trees means that we could have more of an impact on offsetting climate change, as forests are huge sinks for CO2. Using bidets instead of toilet paper entirely can substantially cut down on how many resources we're using to keep our backsides clean. Let me give you a hypothetical. If you touched poop with your hand, would you feel clean if you just wiped it off with some toilet paper? Yeah. According to a survey by the Bradley Corporation, only 66% of Americans actually wash their hands after using the bathroom. That means every hand you shake, every doorknob you touch, every subway pole you grasp has a 44% chance of having a little bit of poop on it. I'm sorry, I know I just ruined so many things for you, but people who don't wash their hands are at a huge risk for spreading disease. A third of the cases of diarrhea and 16% of respiratory infections can be prevented through a good hand washing. So from a public health standpoint, the world would be a less germ-filled place if everyone was using bidets. From a basic plumbing perspective, bidets win hands down. Flushing down wads of TP, or even worse, wet wipes, can cause blockages in pipes and sewer systems that are extremely costly to repair. For example, in 2015, there was a 10-ton blockage in London due to buildup of wipes, grease, toilet paper, and other sewage being built up underground. And this isn't exactly a rare occurrence. London spends $15 million a year on clearing the sewers. Okay, so what's the big picture? What could mass adoption of bidets truly mean for our future? Today, people are more environmentally woke. We care about the planet more than we have in the past, like we very well should. We're switching to green technologies for our energy and for our cars, so why shouldn't we do it for our butts? Just like our efforts to rely solely on reusable energy, we should be pushing for global use of bidets. It saves on resources and reduces our impact on the environment. If we really want to do our duty to build a better future, we should be washing instead of wiping.